So I just wanted to do a little intro for you guys for this video because, disclaimer, we look homeless. What had happened was we had made plans to do what we did, but Jasmine had prior obligations that she needed to handle respectfully, which made her late. So we just, called it a night. And when we woke up the next morning, we just got to recording. So yes, we do look homeless. That's why I said, let me just do a little intro and look like somebody for me and Jasmine, because we did what we could in the short time span that we had. So not too much on us, y'all. How did we get here? I was lurking. I was being nosy. Say, hey, let's see what this girl's up to. Because, like I said when I initially called you too, like, I already knew what I wanted to do as far as content-wise and what I was gonna, whatever. And again, to give the whole story of everything. Like, right. Clearly I have to, speak on that as well. So I'm like, let me just go see what this girl is up to, because if the vibe is negative, I'm just gonna go proceed and do what I want to do on my own, and it's just fair game, but it is what the fuck it is. I'm like, I'm gonna feel bad if I do this, and she's not being mean to me anymore. But then I was like, okay, she's actually wishing me well, blah, blah, blah. And it was just so, I feel like it's so coincidental how I did it at whatever time, and not too many days before is when you had tweeted whatever you were tweeting. So I was just like, oh, okay, cool.
I tweeted also a couple months prior to that about not the blender. Is it the blender? The mixer you got me? Girl, it was the mixer. I don't remember. It was a mixer. I had made what did I make in the mixer? Flautas. For the first time I made flautas. This is like the third time I did this type of tweet, but I was like, no funny shit, shout out to Cheyenne for this mixer, because I had to shred this meat and I wasn't about to do this by hand.
Honestly, I don't remember nothing. Even when we sat on the phone when I had reached out to you the first time, and you were like, just like different things, and you were like, you like brought some of the stuff in my house. I'm just like, I forgot.
But you got me the mixer way before I got the apartment. You got me the mixer when I was uptown. It was just sitting in my closet.
Oh yes, I remember. I got it for Mother's Day.
And it was sitting in my closet because I never used it until I got my new apartment. Like, I was so hyped when I first took it out the box. Fucking 2-3 years later.
It's like when you said that, you just started to like unlock memories. Like,
but I can only remember certain things. Like, that's why I said certain stuff have significance to it. Because I've talked about wanting a blender since I was like 17 years old. Nobody's ever gotten me a kitchen, whatever. And we even had a discussion about that where you felt some type of way because it was sitting in the closet. And I was like, I didn't want to use it yet because I was saving for the apartment.
Honestly, like, shit like that don't even matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
because I really wanted a mixer, and I didn't have anything in my apartment at that time. So I was like, for you to have, and at the time you were more so focusing on school. So financially, you weren't really getting the income that you obviously most likely will be getting today. But like, you were more so in school, so like you really didn't have income like that, and it was like for you to, even if it was Dollar Tree stuff, like I was always taught to be grateful of things like that, because people don't have to do things. Nobody is obligated to do anything for you. So the little things that people do for you, you have to think in that moment they thought of you at that time and said, let me get this for that person. Whether they have it or not, they thought about you enough to say, let me get this for that person. And if it was, especially if it's something that you needed or wanted, like it had, to me it has significance to it,
especially because like, okay, so that it's like somebody was actually listening to me.
You know what I'm saying? To me those things have, I don't think of it as like, oh, this person did something for me, I need to do something for them. Like I should, but I don't, because I feel like it doesn't feel natural. I just think of it because like, oh, this person thought of me and I really wanted this, so I like this.
And that's the thing. So I'm like, like things like that don't matter to me in the sense of like, you know how a lot of people would do something with a motive, or like do something like, oh, I did this for her, so blah blah. Like I genuinely forgot about that. I live with one. Let's go, because like I said, prior to even video, because I feel like we've had little small things in between, or even before the video even was a thought to do. So let's maybe address those things, because I don't know where anything mainly started for you. In my mind, I just simply feel like you were going through a lot and you didn't know where to direct the energy to.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Like, I don't think it was anything personally against me.
It wasn't, but like a lot of the thing that I can admit is I still do that to this day, but I know it's something that I have to fix. Like, I'm not delusional, like that's something that's okay. Even with like my kids, I don't want them to experience that, like me getting mad at something and them feeling the results of it, or not knowing where to direct my attitude or my anger. So like, I mean, it's something that I'm working on. I didn't have much control of it back then because, again, I didn't really have the guidance of someone to help me with those emotions and where to direct my emotions. Back then, I would say I definitely didn't notice it or see it as a problem. Like, I was more selfish in that aspect.
Did it add a layer to it, being the fact that we were like dating or talking or messing around with each other at that point in time too?
Yes, but not because of anything with us. I think it was more so people that were on the outside of the situation. And also, I had interpreted a previous relationship you had with someone else wrong. Because what you're saying now wasn't what I saw back then. So like, I had to be in a position where like, okay, she's willing to experience this thing here, but like, she also has someone filled in her number one spot. The thing I feel like the most that happened was it was so much misunderstanding, also because it was still fresh in knowing each other. We didn't have history. We literally just met. Like, we're all introducing each other to new people. You feel me? Like, you have history with other previous people and situations. We didn't have history. Like, and then we started off in a position where a lot of people would look at it like, damn, how did y'all even end up here today?
Right.
Like, you feel me? So I think that was the main thing of what it was. And then also we had our own issues with our own personalities, development, everything like that. Situation that you were going through, applying it to me too, applying it to you. So it was just, I felt like that was mostly it. It wasn't anything personal, and that's why I say, like, I pick up now that I have to learn how to direct my emotions, because it wasn't anything personal. I felt like the things that we went through in our relationship overall were things that average people would go through, especially because, again, we didn't really know each other. We were just now creating a story for this relationship. So for people that were outside of our relationship, they just didn't view our relationship as something that was healthy or like we should have it or anything like that. Or normal, quote unquote, which that was conflicting for me because I didn't classify it as normal or being weird. It was just like something that happened, and it just so happened to go in a certain direction. I don't have to put a title or a classification on everything. Like, we met up, things didn't turn out the way that y'all would have expected them to turn out. So it's different to you. It's not that it's weird, it's different. We went through typical things. We fought, we argued, we disagreed. In my opinion, disrespect on both ends, according to both of our standards. And we both made decisions based off of how we felt, off of knowing each other for that short time. It's nobody, in my opinion, neither one of us owed each other anything if we were to separate, because although we did things for each other, we had developed a certain relationship. We were still just meeting each other, just creating a story. So things can go in any direction, and nobody is owed anybody anything, in my opinion, when it comes to situations like that.
Especially in that stage.
Like, I hear certain stories about people that you have history with, and I think, okay, maybe you guys owe each other this, this to talk or to work, whatever. But like, sometimes things are different when you meet people later on in life, and it's just a short story to tell in that time. But again, it's still a story that's being told, and it's written in a direction where it's taking a more positive turn than negative. Even when it came to the video, to me, it wasn't anything personal. Like, a lot of people took it very personal. Like, why would somebody do that? That's not your, she was never your friend. Which, I feel like, yeah, but you can't really judge someone based off of how they reacted to something they felt was done to them.
So let's even talk about the video, because I feel like,
wait, let's talk about how we got there. So the Uber situation where you had thought that something happened with your card and the Uber situation. I forgot how it played out, but it looked as if I had used your card to do Uber. And I told you, I think at the time when I had investigated it, because again, to classify, never used your card. I took your card, took your numbers. No, I've never done shit like that. I logged into your account on my phone, and even now, Uber is linked to phone numbers. Something transpired where it looked as if I did take your card and use the Uber. You had confronted me about it, and I didn't take it serious, and I like laughed it off and disregarded it, and then that was the last time I heard from you.
That was a tricky period. It was so many conflicting emotions. So for me, I was wherever I was, uptown, and Uber Eats in, and it was like, oh, this card has been suspended and blah blah blah, and I'm like, what do you mean it's been suspended? I think my meal wasn't even like $5. So I go and I ask chat support, like somebody has been using your account or your card or whatever the case is said. And I'm like, okay, so who is it? Like, how you going to suspend my card and tell me somebody else has been compromising my card and not going to tell me who, what, when, where, why? And then it said Elise. I'm like, Elise. So I go write you in the group chat. In my mind, I'm still giving you the benefit of the doubt. I'm not offering like, oh, she stole from me. She stole my card. No, I'm like, okay, maybe something happened and she didn't get this to tell me. I sent you the screenshot and everything. And you're like, you sent me a voice note like, oh, that's something I gotta explain to you, but I gotta explain it in person. So I'm just like, what? The next day happens, you don't hit me up, you don't say anything. So I reach out to you again, like, hello, like, what the hell is going on? Like, say something, like, because now I feel like you're dodging me or you're trying to take this time to make something up and you're not reaching back out to me, and why do I have to keep hitting you up? And then you're like, oh, well, honestly, it has nothing to do with you because it wasn't even your account, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, clearly it does because now my account is suspended. So what are you talking about? And then from there, it just goes left. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm over it. It was conflicting for me because, as I told you earlier, at that point in time, you had just moved. And we had a conversation a few weeks prior where you were like, you miscalculated, whatever, and whatever the case is. And in my mind, I'm just like, well, I'm here damn near every weekend, and I can't even contribute in a way to help you, and I'm always here. Like, I'm still another mouth to feed, like, at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I just know, like, if somebody was to come to my house and I can't feed them, like, I'm gonna feel some type of way. Or if I can't maneuver a certain way without compromising myself, I'm gonna feel some type of way. So I'm like, I don't want her to feel like that. And then I know you were trying to do the health insurance and the food stamps or whatever, and they were saying you were making too much. So I went back home and I'm like, let me try to see if I can get food stamps in that way. At least, if anything, I could put groceries in the house and you don't have to worry about food expense. You know what I'm saying? You can just deal with your bills and I can help you that way. But I kept it quiet because I'm like, if they deny me, I don't want to tell you, get your hopes up that may happen then it doesn't happen. They ended up approving me that same weekend that all of that happened. So I was uptown and my plan was to come back down the next day, go food shopping while you were at work, stock the house, and then whatever, you come home, you see whatever. So that was my plan. And I'm just like, bro, like, this is mad annoying. I had applied for it in August, and then all of this happened in September. So they gave me a balance for the end of August and then the full month of September. So like over $300 of like food stamps. I'm like, I'm not spending all of this in a month. And I didn't even know how food stamps work. So I'm like, I'm gonna just go get what I need for what I need in my house for myself, and then the rest spend over there. I'm just like, why the fuck is this girl talking to me like she's fucking crazy? Like, I just don't understand. I'm trying to talk to her about it. This is the reaction that I'm getting. This was one of the issues that I had with her in the past, and here it is again. I thought we got over that, but yet here we are again. Like, what the fuck? And at some point, you gotta put your foot down, bro, because, like, if I keep letting you talk to me like this, it's gonna continuously happen. And I don't want you to feel like you have a doormat here, like, because I don't get down like this at all. Also, at that point in time, you met me at a point where I was really trying to change myself. Even how we met and in the manner how we met, I feel like I really took it easy on him. Just for the background that we have and because I knew his family and whatever the case is. I went hard because my name and my money and my, my livelihood dealing with that situation was on the line when you're dealing with my credit and whatever. And I did what I needed to do legally, and I got what I needed beyond that means, but no, I really could have, the way that I was doing, the one that I was living with at that point, I'm not how I was. And I didn't like who I was at a certain point in time. I had an incident that really made me be like, all right, I need to chill out. Like, you can't say everything. You can't do everything. And I tell people this all the time. Like, I really had to bench who I was when I was younger and refocus. Also, I felt like how I was affecting my relationship at that time too. So I was really trying to change for that aspect. So it's just like, you met me at a time I was really in the middle of a transition. And it's like, I don't want to be a nasty person. I don't like that because I know what I could be when I'm nasty. And I don't like being that. I get really close to people. And a lot of people confide in me with a lot. Or I'm always around a lot. Or I always end up like meshed into people's families and into how their lives are. So it's just like, if I was to take it where you're taking it with me, this would really get dirty.
Like, and I don't want to bring it there. So I just take myself away. So that's just what it was for me. I'm like, I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to pack my stuff and I'm just going to go because I'm not going to tolerate you talking to me crazy. I'm not going to do that. I have to put my foot down. But even in doing that, I'm still in the back of my mind like, Cheyenne, maybe you're overreacting. So I'm still constantly like, damn, should I still go shopping or still do it? I could still go shopping and still leave. And I'm just like, no, because like, fuck that. Like, how are you still going to talk to me crazy and it's still going to fucking enjoy the benefits? Like,
if I was in your shoes, no funny shit, my first option would be like, fuck you, I'm taking this shit and bull out myself. So I don't even blame people when they have that mentality or even say shit like that because no funny shit. If I was in your shoes, that would be, fuck that bitch. I'm taking this shit, I'm bowling the fuck out. I'm going to seafood boil. I'm getting all that.
Like, I don't know. I still kind of felt bad. And that's where I ended up hiding the key. So I had the keys to your house. So I took the key and I put it in the drawer. I'm like, I put it in the drawer. I'm like, let me take a picture because I know how people get, oh, you stole my fucking key. So let me take a picture for proof. This is where I put it. And then I'm just like, two, again, because I have this thing where I realize that I apparently give this grace period, this quiet grace period for like things to come back to be mended or to be fixed. And then if it doesn't happen, I'm just like, whatever. So I'm just like, just in case we end up like coming back talking, I don't want it to be like, oh, well, I was like, fuck you when I left and I threw your key. I don't be like, okay, well, yeah, I forgot it because I was in the heat of the moment. So whatever. When you sent me a text like, oh, why'd you take your stuff or whatever case is, I just wasn't in the mood to talk. I'm just like, I'm not doing this because it's going to go left and I don't want it to go left. So that's why I didn't respond. But then shortly after that, I realized I was like blocked and whatever. So I was just like, okay, well. And then that just ended up feeding the fuel into what it was too. Because me personally, if I was innocent, I wouldn't do all of this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I know I didn't do nothing that you're accusing me of doing, I wouldn't go out my way. I'm gonna block you and this and that. For me, it was like, okay, you're running from something. You don't want to admit something, and this is why you were coming off as hostile as you were coming off. It wasn't even a thing anymore until I decided, okay, I'm gonna start the whole YouTube thing or whatever. It was between this story and the whole thing with the whole car with that man or whatever. I was going through my email for whatever reason. I ended up seeing a Uber receipt and it was like a split fare between me and Biggie. And I'm like, okay, because that started ringing bells. Like, I remember you saying, oh, it's because we split a fare. I don't ever remember going nowhere in the Uber with you splitting no fare. So I'm like, if there's a receipt for me and this girl, there's probably going to be a receipt for me and you. Trying to find a receipt, don't find no receipt. So I'm just like, so that never happened. Then I go and pull my camera to go try to get everything situated. Then I start seeing the videos with whoever you were talking to at the time and the pictures or whatever. It was even a video of you and, like I said, Biggie and you're talking. I'm just like, what in the hell is going on? And what be going on when I'm not there? Like, then it's just now, it's like, so this is just even more than a car thing. This is just a boundary thing now. And I'm just like, yeah, no, like, I wasn't overreacting. It wasn't me. Like, something really happened here. I don't know what happened, but something happened and I don't like it.
You never found the Uber receipt with there was a time when I asked you to give me an Uber to go down to school?
I don't know what they did, but they ended up unlinking the account.
So what they did, they literally just locked your Uber account, but no money was stolen off your card?
It was just the fact that my card was suspended. It was like somebody tried to use it.
I think that might have been the time that remember I asked you to I logged into your Uber account through my phone to go to Uber to go down to school, and I had Venmoed you the money.
Because I remember a time even giving you my card because my phone was
yeah, my account was the one that initially got locked out. So yes. I'm assuming when your card had linked to my account, that's when they locked your card to your account. Okay.
And then the video came out. I'm not even expecting no response. I don't see a comment, and my comments they're filtered. So like I have to approve my comments before they even go on to the video itself. Whenever I get in the house so I can read it, I'm like, this is a long ass fucking paragraph. And I'm like, what the fuck? Just went to my phone instantly, like, bro, if you have a problem, we could talk. Or we could whatever the fuck, but I'm not reading that long ass paragraph. And then it just became a whole back and forth interaction. And I think I had seen you do a live on Twitter. In my mind, I'm like, if I was to sit here and do a video about him, everybody would have been all gung-ho and, oh yeah, I want to say my part, yada, yada, yada. But when it's about y'all, all of a sudden, it goes left and it goes this and it goes that. Not everybody has something to say. I understand the fact you also have a child. So I'm not going to go and put shit in this video that's gonna fuck up your livelihood. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was really gonna be some dog ass bitch, I could be like, yeah, she worked at this place and she was stealing from this place and yada yada yada. If videos is circulating for red, I really could have got back to employers or whoever or people that knew you or whatever the case is And that would have been that. Even names, if you knew me at that point in time, then you'll know who I was talking about. But other than that, you're not going to know. It's just another story to somebody. So it's just like, oh, that was never your friend if she did that. Like, do you know what I could have said? Do you know what I could have done?
The difference in that point of view is, I guess, and this is where I always said, even back then, that we had a difference of point of views in it, because in my personal opinion, friend or no friend, like, okay, you wanted to talk about the situation. One, when I had seen the video, along with a lot of, I shared your link, by the way, to a lot of people's house. Like, I don't even care.
How did you even find it or see it?
I think either one of them came to me and said something. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I've never lurked. I've definitely lurked on your page before, but I didn't find it at that time. Then I watched the video and I was just like, the first thing that pissed me off wasn't the fact that you made a video. It was the way you titled it. And I was just like, for somebody to be so big on how they carry their name, I didn't steal from you. I was just like, that was my thing. Like, I don't care that you made the video.
You don't like the clickbait of it all.
That was it. That was the clickbait. And I'm not into things like that. There are people who are into doing stuff like this, and I applaud y'all because, in my opinion, it's a lot of work. And it's something that you have to be willing to talk about. I'm personally not that person, but that doesn't mean I have to hate on what you do. I was like, I never actually stole. And then people were watching the video, and they was like, you know, not one time in the videos did I hear that she said that you didn't steal from her. I was like, I don't fucking hear that either. So I felt like I didn't understand the whole process of the clickbait. It wasn't that you were trying to say that I did actually steal. It was the point of getting the attention drawn to hear the story time, how everything folded out, what happened, and everything like that. I think that was the process of it, and I just didn't understand it. I've always been big on, I don't have to like your reaction, and I can even have an issue with your reaction, but you also have to understand that that is a reaction to something that person felt. I did something, and I know that I did something. I'm not... Then and now, I can admit to doing something. The difference is now I can understand how ugly the choices I made were, and I can change that or make better choices from that specific situation. I was like, I'm not mad at the reaction, because this is how you felt. I did something to you. You clearly felt some type of way. I'm not going to say sorry for how I acted, because that's not a real apology, but at the end of the day, you know, I hurt your feelings in a certain way, and this is how you expressed the reaction. So I didn't care about the video. I didn't understand the process of the clickbait. And then again, like you said, with the whole, you know what I could have said. I know what you could have said. I know that you could have went hard. I don't think the video went hard, in my personal opinion. Other people, like, again, people in my friend group, they're not going to see it like that. And that's understandable, because a lot of people are going to take it as disrespect. Oh, look, this bitch want to fight that. I don't have the time and energy for that. It's a YouTube video. She didn't say anything about nothing that I went through, nothing that she experienced in my household. Like, we had this conversation the other day, like, not inviting people in houses because of what's her... There's so many things that I know that you could have said, and it wasn't said. The only thing that I will say is, with the whole job thing, I was like, that bitch is still incriminating me because she's talking about I stole. You did right, I stole from my job, but I don't give a fuck.
I'm like, I had pictures with the items and the store logo, everything. I could have posted that. Like,
listen, at that point, you got to stand 10 toes, boo. That's the only part I would say I was being very hypocritical. I was like, that bitch still incriminated me, but I was like, you know what? She not lying, though.
Like, you got that part, but fuck
she didn't say no names or nothing like that. Okay, bitch, you got me there. I can't sue you, but you not lying.
Then, God, the fake exposing. It didn't hurt me the way people thought it would, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, it was just, to me, it was just like, okay, like, I know who you are now, kind of thing. It wasn't like, oh my God, why would she say? Because I've already made up my mind, like, when I started telling people. And even, like I told you, explained to you before, even when I told you, like, I've already made up my mind. Like, once I tell you, like, I gotta be prepared if this ever gets out. It was your mouth that told them in the first place. Like, you can't walk around
very early in life.
Yeah, like, you can't walk around with a lock and key to everybody's fucking mouth and control what the fuck they say. So, it is what it is. And again, if I tell you that and I confide in you with something, it doesn't even have to be that. It just could be anything. And you take it upon yourself to go do that, like, honestly, it says more about you than it would say about me. So I can't take that personally. And I don't. Because, again, I know what I could say, and I know that I don't say it. So it is what it is. And you have to give people the rope to hang themselves sometimes. So that's just where I was with that when that happened. And I feel like everybody else took it a little more. Well, granted, I guess, whatever, that's their entitlement as my quote-unquote friends to take it however they want to take it. But yeah, now moving forward, present day, you're a hypocrite, so.
And you know what's crazy? Because a vast majority of people are like that, but they don't realize it until the situation actually happens. like 9 times out of 10, any one of those girls, because they knew more about you than I did, if shit was to hit the fan, they're gonna pour everything out. Like, I know that about anybody's relationship. Like, I'm not everybody is like that, agreed, but like when shit hits the fan, especially them, like shit was gonna be.
I feel like, and sidebar, because not to even make it about them, but I feel like with them, again, it's a case of knowing who people are and knowing what I've been through with them. I've gone through certain things with them and seen how they move through certain things. So over the years, I've known to keep certain things to myself. So honestly, when I say like exposing me in that way and using like the whole STD thing is everybody's literal go-to, is because that's literally what everybody knows. That's the only thing I've probably let anybody know about me. Like family wise, even if you've been to my home and yada yada yada, there's just certain things about my family I just don't talk about. Like there's certain, if it is close and sacred and near and dear to me, and I know that it's going to, I'm gonna get a certain, or I'm gonna give a certain reaction if it's brought up, I don't bring it up to people. So that's why it's just like certain things a lot of people can't hit me with. And I guess that works out in my favor, but then it's kind of like a catch-22 too, because it's like, why have I even been friends with you for so long and I can't even be vulnerable with you in that way? Like, I can't even come to you and be like, oh, let me tell you this too, what's going on with my family, yada yada. Like, no, I don't even feel comfortable because I've seen what y'all done before.
Right.
I think I've used that as my guard up until this day. That level of vulnerability scares me now. Like, I don't even want to know your business. Like, and it's crazy because that's how I've always been. Like, even with other people, like, I don't want to ask certain things. I would never sit here and be like, oh, so how are you and you and your boyfriend? I'm not gonna ask.
I got that.
Like, if you want to sit and tell me and we end up having a conversation about it and whatever, yeah, I'll engage, but I'll never strike up the conversation. Like, because I don't ever want you to feel like, oh, why she asking me that? Like, you trying to get in my business. Like, no. Like, if you feel comfortable to talk about it, we'll talk about it. But I'm not gonna, no.
Pretty much.
But after everything happened with that, I don't even know how too long after it was, where I was talking to Biggie about the fact of, you were always in my fucking dreams. And I'm just like, bro, this shit is a blow. Like, here she goes. But I was like, this shit is a blow. And I understand most times in dream form, it's like, especially if you keep, depending on your relation, it's a lot of unfinished business. So I'm just like, okay, so whatever. Maybe we actually have to squash this whole thing because it just went from big internet blowout and then it is what it is. Like, we just go our separate way.
Right.
So at that point, I had added your cousin back on Instagram, and I was like, I'm waiting for her to like add me back or whatever, so I could DM her and be like, oh hey, what's her number? So when I did that, I was telling her about it. She's like, yeah, I still have her number or whatever. I can reach out to her for you, blah blah blah. So she does that or whatever, and y'all have y'all interaction and blah blah blah. I'm just like, all right, whatever, because it's just too much back and forth and too much. And I'm like, I'm not trying to beg her to have no conversation either. So she's like, she doesn't want to have one, she doesn't want to have one. And honestly, I wanted to do this myself anyway. So sometime after that, I ended up coming to the Bronx and I ended up coming to your house. So you weren't there. Your partner's mom was there. So I was just like, okay. And she clearly didn't speak no English. So she's like, she's not here or whatever. Oh, she does? Oh my God, I'm so sorry she does, because she didn't.
No, she has a very strong accent, but yes, she speaks English.
Yeah, she just looks so confused too, so I was just like, okay. That didn't go the way I planned for it to go, so yeah. And then I ended up reaching out to you when I did, and you happened to be there that time, thank God. And and then we had a conversation from there, and we even briefly spoke about the whole video thing there, because I'm just like, I'm open enough to have a conversation about it where, if you tell me, this did hurt my feelings, or I did feel some type of way about that, or even about our last interaction, if you felt some type of way about it, like, I was big enough to, or open enough to, apologize if that's how you felt, but I wasn't getting that. So it's just like, so I don't really understand. Like, in my brain, it was just like, okay, let's just squash it, because I'm just like, so how did it get here so fast? Because I'm like, okay, maybe it really did like hurt you some way, because like I said, even in my adult life now, looking back at that time period of me just getting up and leaving, and not responding to you, like fake ghosting you in a sense, like knowing that again you were going through a different transition in your life and you were, you know, trying to get yourself stable or whatever. That's a lot, because I feel like I was very much aware of the space you were in, but again, because I'm not gonna sit here and force it and I see how you're moving, it's just like, you know, I'll just be here so she has somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you don't necessarily feel like you're alone. Like, even if we gotta sit in silence and just be in our phones or whatever, at least you have like somebody to do that with, even if you don't want to talk about whatever the fuck you're going through, you know what I'm saying? But it's like to try to be that and to know that that's what I'm actively doing, but then in return I'm literally getting disrespected. It's like, bro,
you were like an innocent bystander in like a bigger situation. I think this is the first and only time I've ever felt like that, where I was so self-centered because I was going through so much. Because it was still all new for me. I'm a new parent still. Like I have to find things out on my own. I was going through stuff with family at the time, so it was like that's why I didn't come off as something that like hurt. That you did that hurt my feelings, because again, it was like you were literally an innocent bystander in a situation that was much bigger and that had nothing to do with you. And I feel like that's why the most recent time we spoke after that, like when you hit me up for this, is when I had to let you know that, because I knew then, like I know now what I was going through then, and I don't want to be in that place ever again. And that's what I don't think that people on my side were understanding. They were looking at it as if like you were an enemy. And I'm like, you have to understand, if you walk into somebody's life while they're in the middle of turmoil and they're treating you like shit, but it's not personal, don't you think you would feel some type of way if you being genuine to that person too, and they're treating you like shit, and they're also telling you that it's not personal, it's just like, so you dragged me through the mud and not even have nothing to do with your
like,
problems.
so damn, you're taking out everything on me.
That's
like,
what I feel like my side of people didn't understand. They just looked at it as you being an enemy because you were talking shit, and it's just like, everybody, I'm not an innocent person. I can say that confidently because I don't mind owning up to my shit, whether I'm right or wrong. And even when I'm wrong, I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on my wrongness. Like, I don't give a fuck. But like, I will admit if I was wrong, and that's what my side I feel like didn't see, and that's why that was always a difference or an influential play on, like, you know, our separation. It's like when you're in a relationship with a man and you're giving him your all and he's treating you like shit. It's the same thing with me and her.
That's what people don't understand. I think people really don't get the fact that a friendship is a relationship. Like, the same way you treat your significant other is the same way you should treat your friends.
People didn't understand that, and I didn't. It was hard to explain that, and that's most of the reason why I blinded it out, or I ignored it, and I was just like laughing with them, because it's hard to explain that to certain people, and it's just like, whatever, like at a certain point in time they're never gonna get. This is why when we spoke,
and they're still stuck on the fact of how we met, like
still stuck, and that's the main reason why y'all have that aggression, because how you would meet somebody in that situation, normally it would be totally left. You know what I'm saying? You don't even understand what our dynamic was with that person in that situation. Like, that was not nobody's husband, baby, daddy, nothing. Like, that was a nigga that was in passing. You were introduced to family members on a fluke just because of circumstance. Nobody ever, hey, this is my boyfriend, family. No, that circumstances made you who you were and made you know the people that you knew. First of all, the thing is, we didn't even know each other, but we both knew that he wasn't just messing with one or two or three or four. We both knew it was. It's crazy because I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that part of him, because I always had my own thing, and because, again, like I explained, like we always had like this whole puppy love kind of situation. Like, whenever he would go off and get a girlfriend, like, we would stop talking. So he would never bring that to me. Meeting you for the first time in that situation, it was like, oh, so this is how he get down. I knew he was a whore. That's why it was just so easy to tell you, like, sis, I'm not his cousin. Like, I'm not even gonna, there was no reason for me to feel like, oh my God, like, it was a whole shock to me initially, like, okay, so this is the game that he plays. It wasn't that deep. And I've been through this before. Anyways, let's get to our conclusion, because we'll be here all day. Like,
you're in this awkward space after you try to like reconnect with an old friend, and you kind of like are unaware of your boundaries. It's kind of awkward. Like, do you text them? Do you say something? Like, you kind of feel like an obligation. Like, do I keep the conversation going or whatever the case is? But it definitely is a thing where you just literally have to let it flow. Like, and I feel like we've done a good job of it so far since our first conversation, reconnecting, and then being here today.
Because I don't feel like we have on my, I don't know, I can't say that for you, but like, I don't feel like there's anything that we have to hold against each other that we can't speak on at this point, because without having to like take it any further than a conversation. Like, you know, like we could, I feel like we're at a point where now we can just relax and talk about something, address things, take accountability.
Time is a good thing to let pass, honestly. Just let everybody go through their journey, whatever that may be. And if you do end up reconnecting, then, you know, it is a good thing. And if you're able to maintain that reconnection, I think that is a good thing. And where I believe, especially a lot of people that I was connected to in the past, I don't think they knew how to give grace. I think that's a big thing to give in any relationship that you're in. Like, sometimes you do need a timeout. Sometimes you do need a pause. Sometimes you do need to take space from people, person, place, thing, whatever it may be, just to get your own mind right and get your own self right, especially if you feel like you're in a dark place. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have a way out. I'm a person, personally, my misery doesn't like company. So if I feel like I'm in a bad headspace, I'm going to isolate myself. Some people may not understand that. It might be a slight to other people, like, oh, you're moving funny, blah, blah, blah. And again, I think you have to have that. You have to have the ability to have an open conversation or to be that vulnerable in your relationships, to be like, you know, it's nothing against you. Like, I'm just going through something right now and I have to go through it and I just need my space.
I'm so glad that I'm around people that understand that, because that's exactly how I am now. Because again, like I said, I know how ugly or nasty of a person I can be, and I know that I don't want to direct anything in the wrong direction anymore, because that's how you lose valuable relationships.
There's some people who can take a cue and sit back and be like, you know what, all right, I seen she was going through something.
Like, it's okay to sit back.
There's some people that you have to really be like, friend, like, I'm just going through something right now. It's nothing against you. Because there's some people who need that communication within their friendships. Like, you have to talk to your friends. Now. I need that as your friend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry that I have to be that needy friend to you.
It's not needy, because you're still giving that person their space. It's just your care. Because, again, mental health is a very serious thing. Somebody can be just as normal one day and shit takes a huge turn. So I feel like when it comes to friendships, I am that vocal where I'll say I need some time to myself. So if I don't hit you back all day, it's just because, you know, I probably slept all day. I just need to think to myself. Like, you let somebody know. If you haven't heard from me 3 days from then, it's not needy to hit me up and say, hey, you know, just check in, make sure that you're okay, whatever. You don't have to ask me anything. And I feel like as a real friend, you would know not to question your friend as to what happened. Right. You'll wait till they're ready to express themselves, because, you know, you'll make them feel safe enough to do that. It's just, you know, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Okay, no problem. Let me know when you're ready to talk. That's it. Yeah.
That's all I need.
I
expect you to
have
spill your
like
nuts.
that, and I value them so much because people will be like, "Oh, you don't hit nobody up." No. Bro, I am depressed.
Yeah, life is lifing.
I am depressed. I don't want to talk to anybody.
But just the maturity of it all, and maybe even just, again, being separate and going on our own separate journeys. Like, a lot of humility has been gained. A lot of maturity has been gained. Because I feel like without those things and accountability, like, a conversation like this wouldn't be happen.
Yeah,
especially so comfortably, where it's like, after everything, like, I have you in my house, or like, you've had me in your house after. Right. So it's like, even for it to get to that point, I feel like it's a large step in the right direction. Like, clearly, like, we're not gonna be best friends tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And not even to say that's a freaking goal or anything, but at least, you know, we know we have an extra person now in our community or in our corner, a person we can reach out to. Hey, you know, how are you? Are you okay? Whatever the case is, you know what I'm saying, in general. And I feel like that's a
positive
good
thing.
starting
and I
place.
feel like
the best thing
is that when you go into things like that with no intentions, it usually has the best results. If you go into it with intentions and they're not met, then your expectations, those two.
Because you should always have
expectations, not intentions.
But the expectation.
You're right. That was the word that I meant to switch out. We breathe again. Please don't. I'm dyslexic. Y'all don't do me like that. I knew the word, but I said the wrong word. You know what I meant. See, she knew what I meant. That's like, you feel me? She didn't take offense like, damn, bitch, you're not coming to this with intentions. She knew I was slow and was like, no, expectations.
Community.
I like how people, the community works for me because this here is off. It's off. But that's not what I meant. I meant expectations, not intentions. Not intentions.
I would only hope the intentions are positive and pure, please. Well, I'm glad that we can do this. I feel like it turned out better than I expected. I like the open dialogue of it all because I don't want my platform to feel forced. I don't want it to feel rehearsed.
Right. Or like
I want to be comfy.
Yeah.
I want it to be really raw and genuine and, you know, true to who the fuck I am and what the fuck I'm doing in my life at this point in time.
Right.
Like, nothing is perfect and ain't nobody out here perfect. The hell? Well, like, thank you.
You're welcome.
For coming a second time.
I'm coming a third and fourth time if you keep cooking dinner. Because nobody cooks for me.
I got more people to cook for
I will bring groceries.